Thanks very much for getting in touch, Betty. She says, I prefer a shower, and mine is a power shower. When the water companies plug the leaks and stop wasting 9 billion litres of water, then maybe we can take their advice seriously.
Yeah, and on that,
I think
Tom...
a lot of people feel very bitter about it.
Yeah, and on that, Tom, it's in the Mail, Minister, I'll find water industry sharks. Is that related to these leaks?
Yes, it is. Essentially, it's calling on the water companies to do two things: to put their customers first. There's been a lot of stories recently about the huge dividends that a lot of these companies are paying to their shareholders, as well as the bonuses and whatnot that their CEOs are getting, despite the fact that these companies are not performing well, shall we say. You know, the figures we've heard bandied about so many times in recent days, you know, a couple billion litres a day being lost through leakage. I believe that's about 20% of the water that we're using in general is actually going towards these leaks, and it's just an incredibly dysfunctional industry at the moment. Of course, it's such a very bizarre setup that we have, that you have private companies basically maintaining monopolies. They're not under very much pressure whatsoever to actually offer a good service. And you're seeing that from the government, even though they've been nervous to obviously kind of intervene too much in anything on a point of ideology, they are seeing that there's going to be a point at which people aren't going to put up with this anymore. There was a great story yesterday talking about how you had, when Thames Water were talking about announcing restrictions and all the rest of it, you had burst water mains in Islington, which were losing far more water than people, you know, not putting the hose pipe on their garden would ever make up for. So it's just quite clear that something's got to give, and if it seems like what the government are hoping is that they can get the water companies to get their act together before the conversation becomes a lot bigger about why are these companies maintaining these monopolies despite the fact that they're giving such a dreadful service to everyone else.
Yeah. And the conversation appears to be shifting again. There's a broader conversation here that's happening about renationalising companies and should they be making profits when other people, when there are leaks, when they're not doing their job and other people are suffering.
No, completely. And also just the complete lack of accountability, a complete lack of pressure on them to do a good job. I mean, you're in a situation in which anything goes wrong, they just blame climate change, they say this is nothing to do with us and all the rest of it. And people are starting to ask that question. You know, if you're in London, you can't pick up and take your business somewhere else if you're with your water company. You're not going to say, goodbye Thames Water, I'm going to go and set it up somewhere. How dysfunctional it's been has been really clear. And the lack of investment, you know, the lack of reservoirs, none being built for 30 years and all the rest of it. Serious questions about that are going to be asked. It's taken this crisis to do it, I guess.